pretty adamant in Long Island that the situation the team was in was on the players. I mean, how disheartening is it that this corp of players has now seen a second coach been fired since you guys have been here?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's on us. It's on us in the room. I mean, we're the product on the ice, so it's unfortunate that had to happen because Phil's not the one playing the games, and I've said this to you guys before. It's it's on us as players to be better on the ice every night, and it hasn't been good enough. The product on the ice hasn't been good enough, so it falls on nobody but ourselves.
Where do you think the disconnect between the players and Phil grew in that last 45, 50 games?
I mean, I'm not sure there was really a disconnect. I think that I think maybe we were looking for answers, and when things went bad, I think guys probably were looking for answers, and I mean, I think it kind of spiraled a little bit, and it was kind of just hard to. I think we were trying to find something, grasp on something that was going on early in the year, and we just couldn't quite find it again. And like I said, I think that kind of spiraled a little bit, unfortunately. But I mean, disconnect. I mean, we talked with Phil frequently as a group, leaders. I mean, I don't think there was a huge disconnect between the two of us. At the end of the day, we just didn't get it done on the ice, and that's the nature of the business. I mean, it's a competitive league, as you know, and it's tough to make that jump from the situation that we're in to the playoffs. I mean, look at how competitive the playoff race was this year. Montreal had a great year, and they don't make it. You know what I mean? Columbus basically sells the farm to get into the playoffs, and they barely do it, with the team that they had. So it's a competitive league. Every night, every point, it matters. And there were spurts of good hockey, and there were spurts of some really, really good things. And there's some things to be happy about, but consistently it wasn't there enough. And you can see it with the fact that, I mean, we didn't win 2 games in a row till the end of the year.
Jack, do you feel as a group, I'm not just saying you, I'm talking as a group, you guys maybe need to practice better, need to maybe prepare for games better or differently? Maybe would be the word.
Well, I mean, I think you can always look at things. I mean, when things don't go well, you can always look at stuff and say, well, we need to do this better, we need to do that better. And practice is something that, as a group, we can definitely do better. I mean, I think you can always get better at practice. You can get crisper, you can get harder. For sure. I think we've made strides in terms of a group. In our practice habits, I think they've gotten a lot better over the last few years. I mean, last year compared to this year, I think our practices were a lot better. I think the pace was better. I thought at times, I mean, it's a long year. I mean, at times practice isn't going to be great. But, I mean, if you're comparing last year to this year, our practices are a lot better. If you're comparing, where we want to get to where we are, yeah, of course we want to get better. We want to improve on our practice habits. We want to improve on a lot of things. And I think that'll go a long way with our preparation for games.
Jack, of all the losses that piled up this year, how important is it for this franchise to get a win in bringing back in getting Jeff to come back?
Well, obviously, that's the nature of the business is Jeff Skinner has to at this time worry about Jeff Skinner, and this is his livelihood. So he's going to make a decision. This is all out of my control. Obviously, we love Skins. I love Skins. He's an unbelievable person. He's an unbelievable hockey player, and I mean, we want him in the room just as much as you guys do. I mean, he's really close with all the guys. He adds a great dynamic to our team. I mean, you can't say enough good things about him. He scored 40 goals this year on top of everything. So, we definitely would love to have him in the room, but. That stuff's going to take care of itself this summer.
I know you've mentioned what happens in the room kind of stays in the room, but as a guy who wears the C on his chest and is a leader, what has to happen from a leadership standpoint? I guess what was your message as the leader of this team kind of lost among the players this year in terms of what the expectation should be on a nightly basis?
Well, I think the expectations were there, and I think the message was clear. Like I said earlier, I think that at times I think the message got lost in terms of it just wasn't followed through and carried out on the ice in terms of our performance.
Jack, kind of along those lines, Rasmus Dahlin was pretty open about, he said there needed to be more internal accountability among players. As a captain of the team, you must have your finger on the pulse of that situation. What's your take on what he had to say?
I mean, I think you can always say that when things don't go well, I mean, I think if you asked us in, November, if we had enough accountability when we were winning, oh yeah, we got enough accountability, but like, even at that point, you can always have more accountability. You can always hold people more accountable. You know what I mean? I think that's, you can say that about anything, any job. You can always be harder on people to be better. I mean, that's the nature of the business, and I think that, us just like anybody, we can definitely be more accountable. But at the end of the day, I mean, accountability is, whether or not you go out and perform on the ice. So that's where it lies, I think.
But as part of getting to that, and he seemed to indicate maybe when things went south this year, that players, guys in the room, needed to be tougher on each other. Do you agree with that?
I mean, to a point. I mean, like I said, I thought I just kind of answered this one. I think that we as a group, you can always get more accountable. And when things weren't going well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, yeah, it's hard to be accountable when things aren't going well, because the first person you got to be accountable with is yourself. So if things aren't going well with yourself, if you're not playing well, it's tough to hold somebody else accountable if you're not doing it. So that's kind of where I lie on that.
What kind of coach? As a leader this season?
What's that?
This is your first season
Yeah.
with the C. How do you think you grew as a leader?
Well, I mean, I think there was a lot of ups and downs for sure. I think that you learn a lot, and I think I really learned a lot. I mean, there's a lot that I can take from this season. There were some highs, there were some lows. I mean, there's a lot to handle, and I just lean on the guys around me. I really leaned on Kyle and Bogo a lot this year. I mean, they're older guys. They've been doing it for a while, so more than anything, I just try and be myself every day. Try and bring a good attitude. Try and work hard at practice. And I think I did a lot more listening, just trying to see where guys are. Feel situations out. I think in the past maybe I was more of like an act right away, maybe act off emotions, act right, and I think I tried to, see people in the light of where they're coming from in situations, and kind of just listen and take a step back, and I think it was good for me, just like anybody. I can be better. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna grow. But it's it's an evolving process. I mean, I think I've taken strides from last year, and I plan on taking some really big strides to next year. So that's
You put up
As
career
the
numbers.
captain.
Nick, you put up career numbers this year. You put up career numbers this year, and still you haven't cracked that ceiling yet of maybe the top 10 or 12 players in the league.
Yeah.
There were a lot of shots you took this year. You talked about your shooting. What areas of your game do you need to improve on to really
yeah,
crack that?
yeah. I mean, like you said, I think I definitely took a lot of shots. I think it's just that honing in on bearing down on your chances in front of the net. I think, looking back, I mean, I could probably name 15 or 20 grade A's this year that I'd like to have back. That that probably makes me a 40-goal scorer and 100 points. So, like you said, it's every offseason there's things you want to get better at, things you want to hone in on, and there's some things that I've noticed in my game that I think I can get better at. I think I took some strides this year as a player, but I think I had a really good first half of the season. I think the second half, I think it definitely took a toll on a lot of people, myself included, and I think getting injured in the middle of the year didn't help. Just dealing with that, I think it kind of lingered a little bit, and I think like the group a little bit, I was trying to find something that was going on at the beginning of the year, and when things weren't going well for us, I think it takes a toll and it wears on you, and I think there's still a lot of strides to be taken, like you said. I want to be an elite player in this league, and I want to be the best. So there's a long way to go. Obviously, there's a lot of really good players in this league, but I think I can be there with them. So I look forward to having a really, really good offseason and doing my best to be the best player I can be next season.
As the
Jack, as
captain,
much
do you-
as you can, you have no control over the coaching search. Is there any one quality or something that you look for in who might be the next guy to maybe capture this team's imagination?
I mean, that's tough. Obviously, we just moved on from, our coach yesterday. So, it's a tough question for sure. Obviously we just want to get the most out of every player. I think that's a big thing. But I'm sure, Jason has an idea of somebody that, he wants to work with and he thinks that would be good for this group, and we'll let him do his thing there. And as a group, we should just be worried about our play on the ice. We should be worried about being better for next season.
As the captain, do you feel the pressure of the fans to want a consistent winner on a nightly basis?
Absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's been a while here. It's, wow. I mean, it's my 4th time doing this with you guys, so we don't want to be here. I mean, this isn't an easy day for anybody. It's a product of not being good enough, and it's not an easy day for us. It's not an easy day for our fans. Our fans deserve more, and there was glimpses of some really, really, really awesome stuff this year. I mean, at times it really got buzzing. I think, even through all the tough times we went through, I think it says a lot that, they were there, consistently for us. I mean, our last home game of the year, they come in and they really, captured the attention of us as players in the room with the atmosphere, and obviously the way that they gave Palmer a standing ovation. I mean, it's a city that loves us and they care so much, and there's such a positive outlook on our team even through the tough times, and I think that just says so much about the people here. And absolutely, as a team, I mean, we should want to, first and foremost, we want to do it for ourselves because it's been a while here and it's been a tough go, but of course we want to do it for the fans. I mean, they deserve it. And you talk to guys that, I'd been here during the successful years, and they talk about how great it was, and obviously I think as a group we want to try and capture that and capture for the fans and capture for ourselves.
You just spent a 82-game season with Rasmus Dahlin.
Yeah.
What's your impression?
Can't say enough good things. You guys obviously see him on the ice, and that there in itself is pretty incredible. But just being able to get to know him and interact with him every day, he's he's one of the best kids I've ever met, and to be as good a player as he is, and just be so humble and together, and he's really has it figured out, and it excites me to think about it because I mean he hasn't turned 19 yet, and I just think about when I was 18 where I was, and thinking about him and the strides he's going to make in the next few years. I mean, we couldn't be luckier to have him, and I just look forward to seeing him grow. I mean, he's going to be an absolute stud in this league. One of the best for sure. So we're super lucky to have him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a shock for sure. I mean, it's tough as players when we're the ones out there every night. So, we as a team feel responsible. That's all I can say on that, really. So it's challenging for sure.
How difficult is this for you? Because you've seen a lot, like your time here, you've seen a lot of head coaches come through here. And it's only like 2 years in a row is the longest you've seen a head coach. I mean, how tough is it to not have that continuity that other players in this league can't have?
Yeah, I mean, for sure it'd be nice to have it. Unfortunately it hasn't worked out. And like I said, as a player, I feel responsible for that. It's just a shame we couldn't keep that first half going, and be doing this interview a little bit later this year.
What prevented that, Sam? What prevented the downturn? Are you able to put your finger on why
No.
we talked about it during the season, but you haven't had much time to reflect, but what caused the direction of the season to change so sharply?
Not sure. Honestly, don't have the answer for you. So I'd be shocked if anyone here today was standing and was able to give you that answer. So, I'm going to take week off of everything and get ready mentally and get excited to go play some more hockey games and for Worlds and get back to that. But right now it's disappointing for sure, and it doesn't make it any easier not knowing what the reason is.
Jeff doesn't know what's going to happen with him, but I'm sure with the chemistry you guys had, you would just love to have him back, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think we've all expressed that to him, all year, and then especially the last couple of days. So, who knows what's going to happen? He's a hell of a player, and hopefully he is here, and hopefully we get to keep playing with him.
What stood out about the system and the structure under Phil? What didn't work, or what did work with it?
I'm not going to get into all the systems of it, but as a player, like I said, it's we feel responsible as players. It's on us to play that system, and it's even more on us when we have had success at times. So, it's not an easy time by any means.
What kind of coach does this team need?
I'm not in that position, I'm not out there looking for coaches for what this team needs, but I think as time goes on, maybe wait a week or two and maybe have more time to reflect. You're not as heated mentally, so I think time will help. For me personally, figure out what's best for this team moving forward.
As you talk about stepping back at things, and you've gone through a lot in your career here, how difficult is it just to process that you've been through 4 years here, and Jack too, and you guys haven't made the playoffs?
It's not easy. It's not easy.
Do you have any thought, not about systems or coaches, but what needs to change in this room to make this team different?
Like I said, I don't have an answer for you right now. Hopefully as things calm down, we'll be able to regroup and find the best way to start getting this moving in the right direction again.
Is it too soon to say what you guys could possibly learn from just the way the second half went? How difficult it was, how tight the games were, those sort of things?
No, I don't think it's ever too soon to learn from experiences. I think just remembering what it feels like in this situation, is important for sure. And just there's a lot of young guys in here to recognize the grind it actually is over an 82-game season. So I think little experiences like that, it's never too early to learn from.
Rasmus Dahlin stood here and he talked about how, I thought it was kind of revealing how he said he thought there needed to be more accountability among players themselves. That he actually said you guys needed to be harder on each other, he thought. What's your reaction to that? And anything to it?
Yeah, I thought we came in this year and we started very strong from that point of view. For whatever reason, maybe it lacked a little bit later on, but that's always something that needs to be in a dressing room, both from the coaches and from teammates themselves. So that's something that can always be be around the locker room.
The league is heavily tilted now toward divisions with the playoff format. How big a task do you guys have when you look at Boston, Tampa, Toronto, Montreal improving, and now today Florida hires Joel Quenneville? How difficult is your task as a group to try to climb in this division?
It's not easy. I mean, I think every division, there's their battles for sure. But yeah, we're in a tough one, no question about it. If that isn't motivating to guys in this room, there's a problem. But we've shown we can compete with them. It's just not near long enough. So that's motivating going into the summer and knowing how difficult it's going to be.
You set career highs pretty much across the board. Where did you feel personal growth?
I mean, in a lot of aspects of my game, for sure. I really liked how consistent I felt my legs from that standpoint. So I mean, it's reassuring from the work I put in the summer and on a daily basis. So that's a positive that I take with me.
You scored a pretty good clip for the second half. What do you say to yourself next year? I think I can have 45, 50 points. Do you set goals like that for yourself?
You try not to, but I don't try to set goals, but in the back of your head, that's something that you definitely want to accomplish and believe I can accomplish. I started putting myself in better situations as the year went on, and started getting more ice time and more opportunity. And I think I relished when I got that chance and got those opportunities.
What else changed? I mean, you've admitted you had a slow start. What changed over maybe the final 3 months, 4 months for you?
Not much. Maybe just a little bit more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you're worried about getting in the lineup, you don't really play the way you normally would, and know you can, and you try to almost play like you try to not make a mistake, and you're not going to have success doing that. So I think I just, when I started being trusted more, getting more opportunity, and getting more chances, I think I showed what I'm capable of and what I can do, and I wish I would have gotten that chance earlier on, and gotten more ice time earlier on. But I think when I did, I made the most of it and made the most of my opportunity.
System and structure-wise, with this, some of the other guys have said that it wasn't so much that, it was just the execution of the players. Is that, you feel that was the case, or they're?
It's a little bit of everything. As players, we have to show up and compete and play to the best of our ability and give it 100%. And that's our job. And you can blame it on systems, or you can blame it on compete level. You can, people are going to find things to blame it on, find excuses. And at the end of the day, we need a better result. And it's, as players, it's on us. As a staff organization, we just have to find a way to get better results, especially at the end of the year, and find more ways to win.
You assess this season overall?
Yeah, I think at this point it's obviously disappointing, right? You want to still be playing hockey. I thought we had a lot of good early, and it definitely tailed off. So, I think there's a lot to reflect on, obviously, a lot to learn from, and there's definitely some positives to take away. So, but I think right now it's obviously it's frustrating, right? We want to be playing hockey this time of year, and obviously with the way things have gone, this past day, it's obviously disappointing.
I know when you first got here, when we did the conference call with you, you were very optimistic about the direction of this team. I know you just mentioned frustration, but did you ever imagine that you guys would go from the highest of the highs to kind of the lowest of the lows?
Yeah, I don't think we obviously wanted to script it like that, the way it went. I think at times we showed our potential, right? We obviously need to sit down here and assess, what went wrong and why it didn't continue that trend, that upward trend that we were on. So it's obviously, frustrating right now, and obviously when you never want to see anyone get fired. So it's obviously been a tough day here.
Why did things fall apart as quickly and as rapidly as they did?
I don't think I can sum that up right now. Truthfully, you know what I mean? There's a lot of reasons. I think everybody needs to do a little bit of some big-time self-assessment, and I think we need to reassess where we're at, and I think just refocus here. Definitely, I think right now it's hard to just sum up why and put that into words.
Why do you think this team didn't respond to Phil over the last 45, 50 games?
I don't know, Mike. It's frustrating. You know what I mean? I thought Phil was a great communicator. I thought he did a really good job of, preparing us to play. And, I think a lot of it falls on, the players in this room, right? We go out there and we play the games. And for me, I think it was just like that inconsistency of what team was going to show up. And, I think that was probably the hardest part for everyone involved was, there was nights where we could be electric, and then there was nights, even period by period, some periods we'd show up and it was like a different team. So that's something we need to figure out, because that is, obviously at this level doesn't get it done.
In talking with Risto and Kyle, they said maybe player accountability inside the room needs to be a little greater. Is that an accurate assessment from your standpoint?
Yeah, I think so. I think we have a lot of good leaders here that do a good job, but I think self-accountability too. I think a lot of guys need to be harder on themselves too. Obviously you need guys to, chip in every once in a while, and coaches need to hold you accountable, and players, your peers. But at the same time, I think guys need to be hard on themselves. That's how you improve. And I think a lot of guys at times struggled with that, and I think that's something we can definitely improve on.
What can they do better? What can they do better in that?
Yeah, I think just being honest with yourself, you know what I mean? I think you need to grow, and I feel like it's a tricky time. You have a lot of younger guys, and a lot of these guys have been superstars growing up, right? And always kind of had the, I think at times, sometimes they never really had a door closed on them, right? So I think sometimes you just need to be harder on yourself and understand that this league is so hard, and every night you need to be able to bring that, your best game, or your, the best version of yourself. And at times we just didn't have that, and I think that's something we need to really find here.
Jason said yesterday that
the second half of the season was a big reason why Phil's not here, just because the record wasn't there, the results weren't there.
Yeah.
How much does that weigh on players knowing that, as good as you guys started, the performance the second half of the year is the reason Phil's not the head coach anymore?
Yeah, it's frustrating. Phil was my head coach, and and a friend too. He's a good man, and it's obviously frustrating. I think for me, the first thing I think of is I wish I could have played better and help did my job right. And because if we'd be winning here and we were still playing, we wouldn't be talking about this stuff right now. We'd be gearing up to get ready for the playoffs. So, obviously in that point, it's frustrating. We're all humans, right? You don't want to see anybody go through, this is his life, and it's tough, right? And you can't fire a whole hockey team, right? So, it's just the way sometimes it happens. It's frustrating, and I think for us, it's hopefully a rude awakening here that we need to improve, and because we do have the talent to get it done here.
You can't fire a whole hockey team, it's very true. But are there a lot of guys in this room essentially who might need to be fired who've gotten too comfortable?
It's tough to say. You know what I mean? I think it's been from my year here. At times it was so good, and obviously I came here because I trust in Jason. I trust in where this is headed, and he has tough decisions to make, and he just made one yesterday. And from that standpoint, they're going to assess. Nothing. Everything's under the watchful eye of. Nothing doesn't go unwatched here. So you just hope that everything's going to move in the right direction, and I feel that we all trust in him, and that it's going to.
You said you faced a lot more high danger chances than you probably expected to do. How do you fix that, or how do you prepare for that, I guess?
Yeah, I think my season is like true. I thought during the middle I kind of lagged out a little bit. I didn't think I played my best hockey. I think there was a game against Chicago I got pulled here at home where I didn't think I really had that kind of. I have a lot of jump in my game. I think people know that in the way I play, and it wasn't lack of preparation, lack of anything. I think I was trying to do too much at that point. And I think I just kind of reset myself. And then I thought from then on, I played that game in Tampa Bay where we lost in a shootout. And I thought from then on, I played a lot of really good hockey. And I wasn't even getting results. But I kind of just tried to continue on controlling what I could. Because some of these games we had played and some nights it was so lopsided that just to keep it respectable, I was on. And then I thought later in the year we played well. And, so it's such a tricky self-assessment in that sense. So I think for me, just trying to control what I can. I can't control what comes at me. I can only control the game that I bring every night. And I thought from start to finish, I was a true pro. I did everything I could to be my best, and I'm going to continue to try to improve and help this team moving forward.
There's a lot of breakdowns, obviously. So how much did that impact how you approached the game?
Yeah, definitely. I went from a very, very structured veteran team to a younger team that we kind of took our bumps and bruises on the fly. So I definitely had to change some things and keep competing, but at the same time I think my game was good, whether it's structured or it was wide open. I thought I played a lot of game, but I thought I had a lot of deflections, tips, like, kind of bad bounces, but I thought in the sense of when you're giving up that many chances, sometimes those kind of things just trend that way. And, I think for us it's a good learning experience. I think we have a lot of guys in here that were young now. Playing defense in the NHL is tough, and they're going to improve. They got a full season under their belt, and, hopefully we can learn from this experience and move forward here.
What will you take away from Dahlin's season?
He was just an amazing kid. Granted, obviously, all the accolades and his on ice. I think for me, the biggest thing I'll take away is how good of a kid he is. He's a really good teammate, a really good person. He works hard. He respects everybody. He wants to get better. There was no entitlement. He's just a great kid all around, and honestly, I think the future is so bright for him, especially with the way that he handles himself on and off the ice.
Chance that I know you've talked about this all year and it's been the same message, but you want to reach this team and come back for another season?
Yeah, I think they're still talking. I think I've said all year kind of that was my focus was here and on playing the games and sort of finishing the season. And now the season's over. Obviously the questions are going to start coming in, but it's been 2 or 3 days. It's not enough really to sort of give it some proper thought that it deserves. I think it deserves some reflection, and just like any season. So we'll take the time to do that the right way. But yeah, to answer your question, I like it here. I love it here. I like the guys. I like the city, and I had a great time.
So you have not made a decision that you're definitely going to go to unrestricted free agency or anything like that?
No, I haven't made any decisions. Again, I think it's obviously it's a big decision. It deserves a lot of thought, a lot of sort of reflection, and on both parts, I think. And in order for that process to play itself out, I think that it's going to take some time, and it's not going to happen in the first couple days.
How much will the hire of a head coach kind of weigh in, do you think, to that decision?
I don't know. I mean, I really haven't thought about that much. I think obviously, as a player, your job is to play, and that's really all I concern myself with. I think. I mean, I think obviously he's going to do what's best for the organization, and he's going to bring in the best coach he can. And I think as a player, your job is to come in and play and compete and help the team win, I think. So, yeah, I haven't really thought about that.
There's another change at head coach.
There was a time that this time for your decision was eventually going to come. Since you got traded here to Buffalo, what have you learned about yourself throughout this course of the year, and how maybe what have you learned about yourself throughout the course of this year?
I think you learn a lot. I think any season you go through, I think the longer you get a chance to sort of reflect and sort of through the summer you get a chance to look back on the season and you get a better perspective, I think, of sort of what sort of transpired. I think when you're in sort of the middle of the storm, I guess you could call it, it's a little bit tougher to sort of gain perspective and learn from things you're going through, I think. So I think anytime you go through a season, obviously you go through highs and lows, and I think for us we've gone through some pretty highs and pretty low lows, and you can always use those chances or those opportunities to learn, and I think that's what I'll do. I think that's what a lot of guys will do, and you sort of come back and be better off for it next year.
You mentioned the highs and lows. How did you guys start so well and then have the wheels just fall off as quickly as they did?
I don't know. I don't think there's an easy answer to that. I don't think there's only one reason or only one thing to sort of point to, I think. And just like when we were going through that sort of great run we had, there wasn't sort of one reason you could point to and say, oh, this is the reason we're doing so well. I think there's a lot of variables that come into play. There's a lot of things that sort of go on, and you just have to sort of the accumulation of all those little things sort of add up to sort of wins and losses. And I think for us, obviously we got on the sort of on a sort of a bad little run, and it kind of stretched out, and we weren't able to stop it.
Jeff, the coach got fired. Why didn't this team respond to the coach at all the last 50 games?
I don't know. I don't know if the team didn't respond. I don't know. I think you go through it game by game, and there's certain games we didn't play well enough. We didn't win enough battles, and that's he's not out there battling. He's not out there playing the games. I think so. I think as a player, anytime a coach gets fired, it's tough because it's on you. I think you're playing the games, and I mean, he puts a structure and system in place, and your job is to go out there and execute. And I think on certain nights and more nights than obviously we could afford to, we weren't good enough at executing.
Was there enough player-to-player accountability inside this room?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I don't. That's kind of sort of like a general statement. I don't know really to sort of go into specifics. I don't think there's overall anything wrong with sort of player-to-player relationships. I think that over the course of the season, those things grow and develop, and I think that there was nothing that was sort of out of place this year.
Can you assess how much losing might weigh in your decision moving forward? Over fit?
I want to win. I think any player wants to win. I think sort of coming in this year, I think you have a good feeling, you want to win, and yeah, I mean, that weighs a big part of it.
I guess I refer to the bitter taste that of missing the playoffs this year and how things kind of transpired. Does that enter the equation when you want to make your decision, or where does fit? And obviously both sides want a deal done, but how much does just the bitter taste right now fall into that equation?
I don't know. It's tough to really put a firm sort of percentage on it. I think for me, I want to win. Obviously, it's not a good feeling where we are right now. We didn't accomplish our goal, yeah, I think that you go through the season, and if you don't accomplish your goal, you're disappointed. It's not a good feeling, I think, and then you go into the summer, you reflect and sort of figure out what you can do better to help the team next year and make sure that doesn't happen.
But Jeff, this is a franchise that has not been able to find a positive direction for a good period of time now. Now, I know you've only taken a recent part in that, but do you evaluate the big picture and the overall direction of things as you make your decision? How much does that weigh in, and yet you have another coaching change to deal with now?
Yeah, I think for me, I came here, obviously I knew where the organization finished last season before this one, and I was optimistic and positive about sort of the direction the organization's headed, and I don't think that's changed. I think obviously this season didn't go as planned, and we didn't get the results we wanted to, but I think the overall direction, I think some of the things I mentioned before the season with sort of the young core they have, the talent they have sort of in the system, I think it hasn't changed. I think that in sort of in a lot of cases that talent's going to keep getting better. It's going to keep growing. I think you look at some of the young guys. I don't have to start naming them. You guys know who they are, but their first or second or even their first few years in the league, in a couple of years they're going to be even better. So that's just the reality, and I think there's still growth. I think there's still things that we can sort of build on or can improve on, I think, as players. But I think that the organization's on a pretty good direction, if in my opinion.
Rasmus, looking back, what are your thoughts on your first season in the National Hockey League?
Yeah, for me, new to the league, a young guy, rookie, it's been so much fun for me. for me to come to a new country and all that kind of stuff. I learned so many new things, and yeah, it's been amazing. But hockey-wise, it's I mean, we haven't played how we want to play, and we didn't end up how we wanted to end up. So I want to play better next year, and the guys want to play better next year. It's gonna be an important year next year too. But for me, outside hockey, it's been amazing. I learned so many new things.
Were you surprised? This is the first time you've gone through a coaching change in the NHL. Were you surprised when you heard yesterday?
I mean, we haven't played at our best hockey. The players, it's the players who make the decision out on the ice, and we are playing the hockey. So I don't really have something to say about it.
Rasmus, when you got here, you weren't. I remember you talking about not being familiar with the Sabres and losing, and their history. Now that you've gone through it, how it's not been 8 years for you that they've missed the playoffs, but 1 year. How important is it? How much do you realize how important it is to win in this town and to change what's happened?
Yeah, I came here to want to make a change here. So yeah, like what I've heard, we made a small difference here, but yeah, we want to be a winning team. We want to make the playoffs every year. So I'm here for make the change. So I'm super excited for next year, and yeah, somehow we're gonna turn this around, and I'm a part of it. So I'm super excited.
Is there anything that surprised you in the NHL?
Yeah, we got a pretty good plane. We stayed at pretty good hotels and stuff like that. I mean, I had super high expectations when I came here, but like everything showed up, or whatever you say. But yeah, it's been so much fun.
What was the toughest adjustment on the ice for you over the course of the year?
To play against the best player in the world. Yeah, when McDavid got his speed there, it's not that easy. And but I tried. Yeah, I learned a few things on the ice. The biggest adjustment, like small ice, play against bigger player, better player, faster. So it's the next level. But yeah, it worked out.
What was it like to be on the same ice playing against guys you grew up watching? Victor Hedman, Erik Karlsson, guys like that. What was it like to be on the same ice with them, playing against them? Yeah,
it's amazing. Yesterday I was thinking back to the season. I'm thinking I'm actually playing in NHL. It's a weird feeling, but I'm super proud, and to play against all those players. I usually come out on the ice in the warm-ups and look what they do, and being some starstruck. But after a few shifts, you're in it, and you're not thinking about it.
What are you going to focus on this offseason?
My strength, that's the big part. I have to get bigger and stronger to skate better, and being stronger in the D zone and have better shots. So my main focus is the strength.
Are you going to play in the World Championships?
We don't know yet. I'll have a meeting tomorrow, and then we'll figure out. So we'll see.
Do you still feel strong, or are you tired?
It's been a long season, but if you get a few recovery days, I think I get back on track. But I feel good, so we'll see.
Based on the number of points you put up this year, how much better do you think you can be?
I'm not thinking that much on point. I want to play like a leader. I want to play good in D zone, play good in both ends. So it's more. I'm trying to focus more on how I play, not the points. So hopefully I can get better next year.
Rasmus, there were times this season when you get down on yourself, but you didn't allow that to happen. If you made a bad play, it seemed like you just like blew it off, and then you reset and came back. Is it something that you were taught, or is it just something that you feel like it's within you just to not dwell.
Before this season, I had a talk with the mental coach and stuff like that, how to handle stuff. And of course, I got more mature this year, and they tell me every game you can't get down on yourself. It's a long season, and one mistake, it's nothing. So I just tried to refocus and try to make my next play.
Now, did you have to take care of Middlestat this year, or did he take care of you?
It's been so much fun with him. We live together, and we're having a lot of fun together. But some days I have to take care of him.